Okay, Pippies. I'm going to go to Toronto. Now, no dog parties this time. The neighbours told me what you did last time I was away, okay? You're going to be a good girl. Okay. Hello again from me and lovely little Pippa. This is the Toronto episode of Excel on the Road, where I spent actually just a few days in the city before I had to head off to New York for some holiday. But I managed to meet two legends of the financial modelling industry, Jarman and Ian Schnoor. You will see some snippets from the interviews that I carried out with them in this episode, but I will release pretty much the full unedited interviews with both of them separately as well. You will find those links below. All that needs to happen now to get this episode started is for me to magically turn up in Toronto. And here I am in Toronto, magically. The weather is beautiful. It's a little bit chilly, but still beautiful. I have just been up, let me see if I can get it. I've just been up this tower, the CN Tower. It's very tall, really good views. I'm sure I'll share some of those in the montage that's coming up. But yeah, day one, Toronto. I'm seeing Jarman tomorrow from Operis. I'm seeing Ian Schnoor the day after from the FMI. And I'm adding a new feature to Excel on the Road, which is that I try and get my guests to take me somewhere in the city I'm visiting that they really love. We'll see how well that works. I don't know whether every guest is going to be able to give me the time to actually come with me. I think both Michael and Ian are taking me to breweries. It could be worse. So here we are, Toronto. Let's get stuck in. Come and sit there as well. I'm more.
That's Is that sufficiently close? Do you think that's fine?
I wonder if we can lean into each other so you don't know we're literally.
Yeah, that works. And then are we still in shot?
I'm going to check that. So. All right. Jarman. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me on this fantastic new video idea you've had. It's an honour to be chosen so early in your series.
Thank you for, I was going to say inviting me to Toronto, but I think I invited myself and then I was like, we must meet.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you for not rejecting my desperate pleas to come and meet you while I was here.
I mean, you're knocking on the door for several hours. I thought we may as well let you in.
Yeah, it's really good to see you at last. Yes, this is my plan to kind of travel the world and see prominent people, experts in our crazy little niche industry. There's actually not that niche at all, because if you take Microsoft data, it's probably like 1 billion people or something in the Excel space. But you're on that list. You are very high up there.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And yeah, it's when people say, like, with all the stuff that I do, sort of both in Excel and then in sort of the competitive stuff, I'm sure we'll talk about later, like they go, oh, it's incredibly niche. Like, why is this a thing? But everyone uses it. So just most people don't like using it, but that's because they're sort of struggling to learn what to do. But I know there's a lot of great people out there like yourselves and Operis as well, who are out there sort of helping to train people, which hopefully will make them less afraid of everything and happy to in their Excel experience.
Well, it's great to be here. Yeah, it's a short trip, but I was desperate to catch up with you, partly to talk about your Vegas experience, partly just to get a bit of an insight into some of the work Operis does, or we might talk a little bit about review work. But why don't we start with Vegas? You were in Vegas last year, the finals of the FMWC's Excel Battle Series. How was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite surreal. I've been doing sort of the competitive side of the modelling for 6-7 years now. 2017 is when I started in the old model off competition. And that really was sort of a niche of, you know, some nerdy guys, unfortunately mainly guys, go to a boardroom in sort of New York or London and do some problems, and then, you know, a few people turn up to the awards, but no, I'm sort of, you know, your colleagues and sort of your friends and family is all, when you do well, it's very great, but no one really sort of cares otherwise. And then that sort of went away, and we got the FMWC and then the Excel Championship out of that. And I would still be the first to say, it's like when Andrew said he's going to televise Microsoft Excel as an esport, I thought he was completely insane.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to touch on was actually like to whatever extent you're happy to share, like some of the work Opera does. Obviously, you build lots of models, you review lots of models. I'm sure we'd probably bore people to tears if we went through every element. But I know like auditing was something that you maybe wanted to touch on, and the various ways that people tend to go about model auditing nowadays.
Yeah, I think sort of model development, which is what I'm in charge of, is rapidly growing at Operis, and yeah, I think more and more people are sort of valuing a more quality model more, and yeah, we could talk about that for hours as well. But I think, you know, with model audits, it's also a thing where it's worth sort of dispelling some myths, because I think a lot of people just think that, oh, they just go through and check every formula, which is not true, because it's incredibly boring. Like, that's just so tedious. You don't learn anything from that. Like, if you can look at a formula and say, oh, this is multiplying x by y, I'd expect it to be multiplying two numbers together, that makes sense. And you can look at it and go, oh, that's great. But there's the bigger picture of, should it be multiplying those numbers together at all? Are all the units missing?
It would be rude of us not to mention the awesome add-in oak.
Of course.
Which I am a huge fan of. By the way, I get no commission for saying this. There's no like kickback to me. I have always used oak. And I think it's an awesome tool. I'm assuming you guys at Operis probably use it quite a lot yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's lots of sort of elements we use, and I think what has changed most about oak in the last 2 or 3 years is so we have in-house tools. So it used to be called Acorn, now it's called Purple, and they are not for sale because they are sort of stuff that we do for internal tasks. So sort of reconstructing our audit process and doing those bits faster for us. But there were lots of bits in those shortcuts and those menus that would be helpful to people. And, you know, not just sort of the simple quality of life stuff like colors as shortcuts. Why has that not been added after 40 years? I don't know. Or formats as shortcuts. But also, you know, jumping around like tracing precedents. Like you can trace the first precedent. If you want to trace the third one, you have to go and select it, whereas Oak had that added a few years ago. And yeah, having both sort of the big picture, really meaty bits of analysis to, you know, compare two spreadsheets to see how similar they are. Yeah. Take this horrible formula and try and sort of reconstruct it in a way that is mildly comprehensible by a human being. You know, there's still that big stuff there, but also having the more sort of quality of life stuff just to sort of make Excel and navigating around Excel easy to use.
I've added an idea for this video series that not only do I come and speak to you about spreadsheets, but I then speak to you about the city that we've come to, Toronto, and ask you to take me. Basically, I want loads of your time. You have to do this interview, and then you have to actually come with me. So you have to pick a place that we then, through the magic of video editing, will arrive at or very near and walk into. So where are you going to take me in Toronto?
Yeah, so I think I'm known a lot in sort of the Excel thing as one of the, sort of the beer guy in FMWC. I set a question last year, which was essentially go through all the beers I've drank and answer questions, which I think was a lot of fun. So we will be going to one of my favorite breweries, not just in Toronto, but like across the world. It's a brewery called Boucher Brewing. As we'll soon we get there, they do some really weird and wacky stuff. But there is somewhere very nearby that we do need to go first, which a bit of a surprise for you, Giles. It's probably not what you're expecting, but we'll head there with the magic of video editing.
Okay, so and this is again something that I've never tried before, but this video editing stuff is crazy. So why don't you count us down from 3, and through the magic of video, we will then be wherever it is that this secret thing or place is that you're taking me to before the brewery.
You see, now if it doesn't work, it looks like it's my fault, but hopefully it will work. Right, 3, 2, 1, and...
So this was going to be, and it is genuinely called this, you can look at it as Google Maps, the main sewage treatment playground. And I just love it, because there used to be a sign here that said main sewage treatment playground, and the fact that someone in the city of Toronto made that sign and didn't see anything wrong with it, I think it's hilarious, but unfortunately it's not now, so we'll have to go to the pub instead. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Right, Michael, we're out in the snow. Where have you taken me in Toronto?
Well, Shack Brewing, my favourite brewery in the world. So,
we'll
out here we get on.
We're going to try some funky beers, I hear.
Here we are.
Okay. Good stuff. So Michael, this is a place that has a weird and wacky beer every week of the year or something.
Yeah, so they've always been experimental. So yeah, that watermelon candy sour they just made because then yeah, it's good because it is. But they're trying some really interesting stuff now. So we just had our bubble lager. I think they've got some green tea and black tea lager or something. Sounds bizarre. So we'll try that later. And some lovely stouts as well. So a lovely evening.
And a lovely evening it was indeed. Thank you so much, Michael, for hanging out with me. And I woke up and decided the aquarium was the best place to clear my head before going to the market in Toronto, walking around a little bit before my time with Ian Schnoor from the FMI. So Ian spent literally almost the entire day with me. Here's a few snippets of my time with Ian Schnoor. All right, Ian, where have you brought me to in Toronto?
Welcome to Toronto, Giles. It is awesome to have you here on this snowy day. We started our tour of Toronto at the Evergreen Brickworks, which was an old brick quarry, a huge land quarry and a brick manufacturing space that was converted into an environmental area where they have markets, and we walked up and had a view of the city. And now we've come into the distillery district, which was an old distillery area. You can see there on the sign, the Gooderman Worts Distillery.
Nice.
And they had this massive piece of land, and it was unused for many years until they converted it, some 10, 20 years ago, into this amazing space with shops, markets, and restaurants. It's packed on the weekends, and we're gonna take a look around.
Ian, where have you taken me now?
Welcome to our next stop. We're at what's called the Stacked Market, the only market, I think, in the world that was built entirely of shipping containers. And I'm bringing you here because it's called the Stacked Market. I call it the Full Stacked Market. And I think from henceforth it should be known as the Full Stacked Market. So let's go take a look around.
Fantastic. Right, here we go. All right, Ian. Oh, you nudged me out of the way. Ian's taking this way too seriously. He's got the sweeper out. Tension is clearly getting to him. All right, Ian, so FMI are changing all of their assets.
Apparently,
to the correct spelling.
after going down, invested a 3, even though there were some questionable rules. Yes.
That's it, guys.
The
The decade-old argument of whether it's 1 or 2 L's is over.
apparently it was settled by table curling.
It's solved. We've done
in
it.
the full stack market.
Everybody out there, if you're spelling it with a single L, you've now got to change everything that you've produced.
Apparently, sorry guys.
Cheers.
Sorry.
Well, Giles, it is great to see you again. And we are doing a double take for everyone watching. We're watching a video of us watching a video as we record this, because regrettably, I am embarrassed and shamed that my fellow Canadians, someone in this country of 40 million people, found your bag of audiovisual kit that you accidentally left on the train platform and did not turn it in to the good people on the rail line, and it never got its way back to you. So I'm embarrassed, and you lost all the audio from our great video recording.
It was an amazing recording. The video is what you can see. This was my phone recording in 4K. I tried to recover the audio from my phone, but there was just too much noise going on in the brewery that we were at. So we are going to, in a very meta way, talk a little bit about what we see, which is partly just me going through about 7 beers. Is it a surprise that after this session in your brewery, I then lost all my audio kit on a train station?
It did occur to me that after I let you sample all of our beers at the brewery, because it's a brewery that I'm involved with here in Toronto called Henderson, it didn't surprise me that after sampling 7 or 8 beers, no, those are small. For those watching now, those are not full pints. Those are sort of 4-ounce glasses, so don't give him a hard time. They're small samples, but I guess after 6 or 7 small samples, you may have just been a little more relaxed and lost track of your kit.
First one's nearly gone already. Original days, FMI changed all the assets to double L, you know, the commercial agreement.
It is expensive. That is that is an expensive endeavor between domains and websites and marketing collateral and handbooks. But we've allocated about $200,000 towards adding an L into everything. So stay tuned.
No pressure. But just whenever you're ready, that's fine. And we'd also just come back from the summit, so might be worth just touching on that. It's the first time we met in person.
Yes.
Global Excel Summit 2024. I mean, it was a fantastic couple of days meeting a whole bunch of MVPs. How did you find the whole experience?
I loved it. I had been at in December, I had been at the Financial Modeling World Cup in Las Vegas, where I got to meet a lot of people. And then 2 months later, in February, I was in London for the Global Excel Summit. 2 phenomenal events. The Excel Summit was tremendous, a great venue to meet so many people on the front lines, as you will, right at the cutting edge frontier of what's happening with Excel and data. And it was totally eye-opening at the level of depth and expertise that people are pursuing to become masters of their crafts, and that the world of data has become so specialized. There's a lot of areas to focus on. There's a lot to learn, and it was amazing to meet so many passionate people in our space.
How's life at the FMI? I know you're spinning lots of things and doing an incredible effort sort of growing the business. How's that all going?
It is tremendous. We are having a lot of fun. It's really exciting. We really feel like we are at the front lines, cutting edge of building, the world's only true independent accreditation organization in financial modeling. We're seeing tremendous support, building tremendous partnerships with organizations like you and your organization, Full Stack Modeler, all over the world. Again, we are not a classroom training organization. We simply want to force people to get good. So after they've done training like Full Stack Modeler training or any training, we want to give them a date in the calendar, some learning resources to supplement what they have, a community of thousands of people, and an ability to work hard, to hustle, to prepare, and until they can become exceptional modelers. And again, we have a great partnership with CFA Institute that's public. Every single CFA candidate around the world these days now, starting in 2024, has to go through our learning materials. CFA wanted a partnership because we're a fellow accreditation organization. We've got partnerships with some large accounting bodies all over the world, and we're launching our programs in China this year. We are seeing a lot of interest in people who want to be able to say, yeah, I really climbed that ladder. I have tremendous skills and the confidence to be able to build a model. So we're having a lot of fun building this with great people like you all over the world.
Thanks for the second chat, Ian. Sorry about my mistake, which led to us having to redo this. But yeah, it's good to catch up with you again.
Apologize again on behalf of my fellow Canadians, but it has led us to a good story, and we will make amends for it at some point. So thanks again for doing this. Great to have you and to build this and to build financial modeling with you as a discipline and as an important discipline that we're both involved in helping to steward this profession everywhere we go. So it's a thrill to work with you and some other great people.
There we go. And it wasn't long after that original interview with Ian in the brewery that I managed to leave all that audio kit on a station somewhere. So some big lessons learned, one of which is that you probably shouldn't spend too long in breweries the day of any international travel. Who knew, hey? So thank you, Michael. Thank you, Ian, for giving up so much of your time. It was genuinely just good fun hanging out with both of you, talking about Excel and the future of modeling. I will have an episode coming up from my time out in Vienna, and also a very special episode for me from my time, as I record this, I haven't been yet, but it will be from my time in South Africa, where I'm going to be running the famous Comrades Ultra Marathon, and then spending some time with some modeling pros out in Johannesburg. I might be limping a little bit when I do that. So this is me signing out. Take care until next time, and I hope you all enjoy any modeling and Excel work you do in the meantime. Oh, I missed you. Do you want to hear a really funny story about audio equipment? You don't care that I'm here, do you? You don't care.